Hey guys, Amy Garish here with Realty Executives. I'm here to give you the market update for Santan Valley. I've got my sweet real estate agent shirt on. What's your sign? Hopefully it's sold. That's the dumb realtor joke of the day. So anyway, let's jump into Santan Valley market stats. I'm a nerd, I'm sorry. So let's look at some things. I want to overlay some of these graphs for you. Here at Santan Valley, these are the market updates. Like these are the stats from June. It's the middle of July right now. We're nearly the end of July. The numbers for July will be out in August on this particular reporting dashboard. So let's kind of dig right into what's happening in Santan Valley. You can see the active number of listings does continue to rise. We can see that they're continuing to rise. And let's see, I just like lost my train of thought because I thought like, oh, I could show you like the real live active listings. Why don't we do that? Hang on, I'm gonna pause the recording super fast and pull this up. Okay, so I pulled the numbers, the actual live for July. So we're in June, and when we took this snapshot at the end of June, there were 327 active listings. When I come over to the MLS, like we're seeing 499 listings. So we're seeing inventory continue to rise live here in July. And so when I overlay the market stats, that's going to give us some predictions and forecasting. So let's look at the number of let's look at the number of sold listings. So you can see that the number of sold listings kind of remained flat here in April and May and started to slowly go down here in June. I think with that increase in inventory, that tells me that July is going to, closings are going to continue to come down. Right now, we were at 213 closings and 327 listings. When we look at the pending listings, boom, you can see that only 145 listings are pending in Santan Valley in June. And I probably can pull up some pending listings here and we can get a live shot of it. So there's pending and then there's under contract with contingents. So I think that number that we were looking at are just straight pending. So there's 107 straight pending listings. If we add these UCB and CCBS listings, that does put us at 163. But if we were comparing apple to apples from June, like we're at 107 versus 145. So that tells me that we're going to continue to kind of see inventory rise because buyer demand has actually fallen again coming into July. And so that means that pricing is going to be affected. Let me just click on this last one for you so you can see new listings. New listings looks like it started to flatten out here from May to June. Like they didn't go up. But looking at those July numbers that we had an active inventory, I feel like maybe the new listings went up in July. So let's look at listing prices. So all this inventory is going to have an effect on listing prices. So if we look at the current active listings here, we can see in March, we were at 530 was our average list price, and it went down to 523. Not a huge reduction, but when we look at pending listings, you can see that pending listings were actually like, you can list your house really for anything. And like a lot of people will list their house for an insane amount of money, right? Because people were probably offering it before. But you can see like here, the list price to pending price in March was pretty close. But then you can see that the lines start to separate. So that means like realistically, you're listing your house at 525, but it was probably selling for somewhere around 477. And you can see that as listing prices came down, like as sellers got more realistic, that these numbers were closer again. So let's look at the actual sold price. So you can see, even though they were going under contract for a certain price, they were actually closing for less, which is kind of a big thing. So I would think that going into the next forecasting into the July numbers that this number, you know, the pending listings are probably going to be up here and they're actually going to close for less. So that is interesting as well. So here's the absorption rate. This is calculated by the month, how many months of inventory we have. So it's like how many active listings do we have divided by how many listings are in a contract. So that tells us we have 1.34 months of inventory. We bottomed out at less than a month. It was like a half a month of inventory. So now you can see it's grown significantly over the last few months. Sold to list ratio. Again, you can list your house for whatever you want to. People were getting over asking price quite a bit, but you can see that has come down and now people are getting just almost at asking price. So you can see that it's starting to come, listing your house and then getting less than what you've listed it for. This number is going to continue to decrease as inventory continues to rise. So that's something to keep an eye on. I also wanted to show you some numbers here in the MLS as a whole. So this is not just for Santan Valley. We track new listings coming to the market across the whole valley. And it's kind of a neat trend to kind of watch, but it's also very, very concerning because we haven't seen, like in May, we saw over 11,000 homes come to the market. In June, we saw over 12,000 homes to the market. I'm sure in July, we're going to see another like 12,000 plus banner inventory increase. And it's concerning because like if you go back, this goes all the way back to 2012. And if we go all the way back to 2012, like you can see, there was one year that we hit 11,800 new listings to the market in 2017. And I think, you know, around that time, I think interest rates probably creeped up like a little tiny bit and you could see it in the inventory, right? So now we can see interest rates really rising and we're seeing it in the inventory, and we haven't seen inventory, this much inventory come to the market in over a decade, right? There's nowhere else. If you go through this whole thing, there's nowhere else where 12,000 homes hit the market, right? Because this only goes back to 2012. If we go back to that 2008 period with that last economic downturn, we probably saw these types of numbers and inventory hitting the market with all the foreclosures rushing the market and all that kind of thing. And to put this into perspective, when we look at total inventory, and this was the June number, 17,973 active listings, total listings. So all of the new inventory, we can kind of come and like look at that all. If I took that out, let's see where we're at, 17,284. So we're kind of holding in this $17,000 range, or 17,000 listing range. And to put this into perspective, with the last economic downturn, when we had that abundance of foreclosures and all the inventory, like we were well over 50,000 in active listings on the market. So we are still significantly under that amount, but we do have to keep an eye on the number of new listings that keep hitting the market. And as long as these numbers continue to separate, because this gray number, oh, those are active units. Hang on. This number, monthly units sold, this is year over year. Neither of these are the numbers that I want. Active inventory, this is the one I want. So as long as inventory continues to rise and sales or pending contracts and sales like continue to fall, and these lines continue to separate and the gap gets bigger and bigger, then we're gonna start seeing the inventory continue to rise. So it'll be 15,000, 17,000, 18,000, 19,000, 20,000, you know, 25, 30,000. Once we get creeping up past that 30,000 mark, like I'm going to get really concerned that we're in full swing economic kind of housing crash. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. We're not there yet. We're still at 17,000 in the full Phoenix metro. But if we continue going the way we are, we could be there sooner rather than later. So that's something that I am keeping an eye on. So let's go back to Santan Valley. One more thing I want to show you guys is this right here. This is realtor.com, and they have this cool thing where you can check like, you know, price reductions versus like any home for sale. I'm kind of checking out new construction right now and just kind of see what's happening, because if I took Santan Valley kind of like out of the mix and say we put like Phoenix as a whole, right? We can see that there's like major price reductions happening around the Phoenix Metro, $20,000, like, I don't know, $100. I don't know what builder is doing that. Let's put Santan Valley back in just to see what kind of deals are available, because if you're a home buyer right now, price reductions are happening on all sorts of levels with home builders, with regular sellers and things like that. So there's opportunity starting to happen. You can see Santan Valley, like this house dropped $7,000. I don't know who these builders are that are dropping prices by $10, thinking that like they just need to get over themselves and get realistic. They need to be dropping their prices probably a little bit more. But you can see like this one dropped 14,000 and now it's pending 100. Let's see. This one dropped price $30,000. This one dropped price $30,000, 15,000, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link to my new construction. If you're a buyer in this market and you're looking to maybe possibly build a house or to get a brand new house, there's some deals happening right now. I do give buyer rebates for new construction. So not only can you get in on the price reduction, but you can also get in on a buyer rebate and get a little cash back at the end of the sale. So I'd be happy to help you there. Look, this one dropped their price $100,000 and it went under contract. So that's a big deal. So deals are happening. I know that interest rates are high right now, or higher than usual, right? Because we just went through like where interest rates were between 2 and 3.5%, right? Now they're close to 6, and that's a big deal. And so that does say like, oh, I want to buy a house, but like, oh, at 5.5%, 6%. Here's what usually happens, and I can't predict interest rates. So, but this is kind of what usually happens in this type of economy, is where they're trying to pull back and slow things down and reduce inflation. So interest rates go up, and after so long, and I don't know how long it's going to be, interest rates will usually come back down, and there will be some reprieve at some point for you to refinance. But it may not happen either, right? They may not, and they may stay at around 5% for a really long time. So but that's a strategy, is to be able to do that. I do work with a lender that offers free refinancing, because they know that people are going to be waiting for that interest rate to drop. And when it does, like I have lenders that are willing to refi their clients for free. So if you're, like I said, if you're interested in purchasing a house, there's things that we can do, right? Look at this one, dropped 22,000. They went under contract. 18,000 went under contract. This one's still for sale, dropped the price 22,000. So if you're thinking about selling right now, make sure it's right for you, that it's a good time to sell for you, because inventory is rising. There is more competition. There are less buyers in the market, because as interest rates do rise, it does price people out of this market. So some of the buyers are just gone because they can't afford it right now. So they have to wait for prices to come down and everything to kind of balance out for them to join back into the market. What you can do as a seller is probably offer an interest rate buy down. So that'll help get buyers in to see your house, because if your house is listed at 500,000 and a house down the street is listed at $5,000, you're willing to help pay down that interest rate. The payment on your house is going to be cheaper than the same exact $500,000 house. So if you can help a buyer that way, then that will be great. And that'll help you get that price that you want versus having to reduce the price. So there's some things that we can do to help you sell your house. There's lots of strategies and different things. So happy to have a consult with anybody looking to sell in this market. But if you're a buyer, keep watching these price reductions, and we will see you in the next month's video.